More and more people in the UK are asking the same question. Should I leave? Rising taxes, increasing living costs, and endless stories online about people enjoying a better life abroad make leaving look like the obvious choice. But most people make this decision emotionally, not financially. They compare rent prices, see lower taxes, and assume they'll automatically be better off. The reality is far more complicated. Leaving the UK changes your tax status, investment options, pension strategy, healthcare costs, and even your long-term wealth-building potential. In this video, we're going to break down the real financial maths behind leaving versus staying, so you can make a decision based on numbers rather than social media fantasies. The desire to leave the UK isn't really about geography. It's about money. Across the country, more people are questioning whether the financial system still works in their favor. Many feel like they're earning more than they did a few years ago, yet somehow have less left at the end of each month. Rising housing costs, higher energy bills, increasing food prices, and frozen tax thresholds have created a situation where many households feel financially squeezed. Even when salaries increase, inflation often absorbs much of that gain, leaving people wondering whether there is a better alternative elsewhere. At the same time, social media has made the idea of moving abroad more appealing than ever. Platforms like Instagram and YouTube are filled with stories of people who left the UK for destinations such as Spain, Portugal, Dubai, or Thailand. They post pictures of sunny beaches, lower living costs, larger homes, and a seemingly more relaxed lifestyle. To many viewers, it appears as though these individuals have discovered a shortcut to financial freedom. However, what social media rarely shows is the complete financial reality behind those decisions. Lower rent or lower taxes are only part of the equation. True financial success depends on a combination of factors, including taxes, healthcare, investments, pensions, career opportunities, and long-term wealth-building potential. Before making a life-changing decision, it's important to understand the full picture, rather than focusing only on the most attractive numbers. One of the biggest financial benefits of living in the UK is access to the ISA system. Every year, UK residents can invest up to 20,000 into an ISA and enjoy tax-free growth and withdrawals. Once you become a non-UK tax resident, you generally lose the ability to make new contributions. Existing investments remain protected, but future contributions stop. This may not seem important in the short term, but over 20 or 30 years, the effect can be enormous. Tax-free compounding is one of the most powerful wealth-building tools available. Giving up future ISA contributions could potentially cost tens or even hundreds of thousands of pounds in lost tax advantages over a lifetime. Many people focus on income tax savings abroad while ignoring pension advantages in the UK. Pension contributions receive generous tax relief, particularly for higher-rate taxpayers. In simple terms, the government helps boost the value of your contributions. Once you become non-resident, these benefits can become significantly restricted. In many situations, non-residents can only make limited contributions while still receiving tax relief. This means that although you may save money today through lower taxes, you could be reducing the size of your future retirement fund. Wealth building isn't only about today's cash flow. It's about how today's decisions affect the value of your assets decades into the future. One of the most misunderstood rules involves capital gains tax. Many people assume that moving abroad immediately removes them from the UK tax system. Unfortunately, it isn't always that simple. Under temporary non-residence rules, individuals who leave the UK and return within a certain period can still face UK tax liabilities on gains realized while abroad. For someone planning to sell shares, investment properties, or a business, this can create a major surprise. A move that looked financially attractive on paper could become far more expensive than expected. Before relocating, understanding how long you plan to stay abroad is just as important as choosing the destination itself. The most common mistake people make is comparing only housing costs. A couple paying $1,400 per month in rent in the UK might find a similar property abroad for £800. That sounds like a huge win. But housing is only one part of a financial plan. You must also account for healthcare, insurance, transport, legal services, travel expenses, education costs, and taxes. Once these additional costs are included, the apparent savings often shrink dramatically. In some cases, they disappear entirely. Financial decisions should be based on a full budget comparison rather than a single category. Otherwise, what looks like a cheaper lifestyle may simply be a different set of expenses. Another factor that rarely appears in relocation videos is currency risk. Many people who move abroad continue earning money in pounds through pensions, investments, rental income, or remote work. However, their spending takes place in euros, dollars, or another currency. This creates exchange rate risk. If the pound weakens, your spending power falls immediately. Even a relatively small movement in exchange rates can significantly affect your monthly budget. Over time, currency fluctuations may add uncertainty that doesn't exist when your income and expenses are in the same currency. This isn't necessarily a reason to avoid moving abroad, but it is a risk that needs to be included in your calculations. One reality many people ignore is that moving abroad isn't always permanent. Life circumstances change, family situations evolve, career opportunities emerge, health concerns appear. Many expats eventually return to the UK. The problem is that property prices, living costs, and financial conditions may have changed while they were away. Re-entering the housing market can be expensive. Rebuilding professional networks can take time. Financial plans that looked perfect during the move may become much less attractive if a return becomes necessary. That's why every relocation decision should include a simple question. If I came back in 3 years, would this still have been financially worthwhile? Leaving the UK often makes financial sense for retirees with established wealth, people moving to genuinely lower tax jurisdictions, or those with location-independent income. These individuals can often benefit from lower living costs while maintaining strong income sources. On the other hand, people who are still actively building wealth may discover that UK tax advantages, pensions, and investment accounts provide benefits that outweigh the attraction of lower taxes elsewhere. The key lesson is that there is no universal answer. The best decision depends entirely on your age, income, assets, career, family situation, and long-term goals. The smartest move is the one supported by your numbers, not someone else's experience online. So, is leaving the UK financially worth it? For some people, absolutely. For others, staying and maximizing the UK's investment and pension advantages may build far more wealth over time. The difference isn't the country you choose. It's whether you've done the maths before making the move. Most people focus on immediate benefits, such as lower rent, cheaper groceries, or reduced taxes. But these factors only tell part of the story. A truly informed financial decision requires looking years into the future and understanding how your wealth could grow under each option. Consider how much you expect to earn, save, invest, and accumulate over the next 10, 20, or even 30 years. Factor in pension contributions, tax-efficient investment accounts, healthcare costs, housing expenses, and possible changes in your career opportunities. Also consider risks such as currency fluctuations, unexpected life events, and the possibility of returning to the UK later. Small financial advantages may seem insignificant today, but over decades they can compound into substantial differences in net worth. Likewise, A move that appears financially attractive in the short term may become less beneficial when viewed over a longer period. The purpose of this exercise is not simply to identify the cheapest place to live, but to determine which path gives you the strongest financial future. In the end, the best decision is the one supported by long-term numbers rather than short-term emotions. If you enjoyed this video, watch the next one on screen now, where we break down the smartest ways to build wealth in the UK, step by step. Thanks for watching.